I think it's prudent to start this video with a spoiler warning. I'm going to be talking about a TV show. Granted, that TV show went off the air in 2013, but if you don't want to be spoiled, now's your chance. The show I'm going to be talking about is Misfits. Not to be confused with The Misfits, whose songs are better and who were the enemy of Jem from Jem and the Holograms. Misfits was a British show about a group of teenagers who got superpowers. In one of the episodes from the show, they encounter a character who has gained lactokinesis, literally the ability to control milk. So that seems pretty ridiculous, pretty unpowerful. But that character manages to defeat and kill everyone but one of the characters from the main cast. So what's the point of talking about Misfits? What's the point of talking about a character with such a weird and basically useless power set? My point in this conversation is to say that we are all lactokinetics, that all of us have powers and abilities that are different and weird, and that is where we can find our true strength. If you have an understanding of what you are capable of what your strengths are, and what your weaknesses are, then you can actually achieve greater things. By being incredibly controlled and having full understanding of his powers, someone who can control the milk was able to defeat characters with much more powerful power sets. And it's the same for us. By understanding what we are good at, we are able to lean in to our strengths. By understanding what we are weak at, we are able to cover for our own weaknesses. By understanding both, we are able to use our strengths to cover our weaknesses. We're able to use our weird and wonderful talents to cover for our own shortcomings. If we're lucky, in our life, in our day-to-day life, we've had mentors. People who have taught us things, people who guide us. Sometimes that relationship is formal, sometimes it's informal, but ideally you've had at least one mentor in your life and you have one now. But it's important to remember that you are not your mentor. They have abilities that you don't have. They have weaknesses that you don't have. It's important to understand what they have achieved and how they have achieved it, but then it is critical that you adapt that to yourself. All of this comes down to one thing. You need to have an understanding of yourself, an understanding of your own strengths, and an understanding of your own weaknesses. When I talk about covering for your weaknesses, I'm not actually talking about improving those areas. I'm talking about understanding those weaknesses and then using that understanding to cover for them. For myself, I have a weakness around giving adequate amounts of praise, and I've put processes in place to ensure that I am doing something. But the strongest way that I have covered for this weakness is by surrounding myself with people who are good at giving praise. So in an ideal situation, you cover for your weaknesses with different people. This is why diversity in a team is so important, because it brings different strengths and different weaknesses, which allows you to have a full range of powers and abilities and cover for each other's weaknesses. Again, coming back to that understanding of your own abilities. If you understand what you're good at, you're able to lean into that strength. And those are the places where you're going to see the greatest payoff. Because if you can expand or strengthen a strength, if you can broaden a strength, the payoff you're going to see is going to be very, very great. If, on the other hand, you're constantly focusing on trying to fix your own weaknesses, the amount of effort required to do so is dramatic. And the amount of payoff you're going to see isn't always going to be very big. Sometimes our own strengths may not seem that important, may not seem that big. The ease with which we use our own skills can make them seem not that difficult. But it's important to recognize where some things that we're very good at can actually stand us apart from others. Recognizing these unique abilities can be difficult, but if we can, then this gives us an ability to understand what we can be great at and to focus there. Otherwise, we can end up a My Little Pony searching for our own cutie mark when the actual answer is right there in front of us. I realize that this video is using a lot of television references, so be it. So again, understand your strengths, understand your weaknesses, focus on your strengths, on improving them, deepening them, and broadening them. Use your strengths. Use power stunts on your strengths to cover for your weaknesses. You can build shields from your strengths to protect you from your weaknesses. Even better, find people to cover your weaknesses. Find people whose strengths match your weaknesses, because together you are so much more powerful. You aren't your mentor. Use them as a tool to learn from and to understand yourself. But all of this starts from a place of understanding. Understanding your own strengths, understanding your own weaknesses. So that's the place to start. Thank you.